How are you people? Thank you so much once again for taking your time to go through this channel and to see what is new. I don't take it for granted. As always, I just want to always let you know that I appreciate. This time, I'm not recording this video in the capacity of a musician or even the free and wild country girl that most of you are familiar with. I'm recording this video in the capacity of a mother. And to be specific, a mother who has a special needs child. In short, a special mother. I know this terminology may be new to most of us, but I just want to let you know that when God gives you a child with special needs or a child with disabilities, as you know, the terminology out there, that's the common term that people may use. He also gives you sufficient grace to become a special mother or a special guardian or parent, whatever, because a special needs child needs extra love, extra grace, extra patience, and it is only God who can make you and mold you into that kind of a person. There's a quote that says, "You don't tell a story because of how it begins, but rather you tell a story because of how it ends." And so I'm just praying that you will have the patience to hear and listen to this story to the end, because it doesn't begin so well. It doesn't start at a very good point, but you want to hear the ending. I am sharing this story as an inspiration to so many people who may be having or going through what I have gone through, or even worse. And I'm also sharing this story to glorify God, because He has really, really been faithful, been able, powerful, and I have seen God do what people, men, medicine, technology, doctors, what they all could not do for my child. And so whenever I sing songs, and most of you share testimonies with me that, I heard this song and it encouraged me and it saw me through a terminal illness and all that, I relate so well because I have seen God's word working through my life, becoming what medicine, technology, and therapies could not be for my child. I have a 5-year-old daughter who was diagnosed with autism. Is a medical terminology, but in our local languages, we have definitions of that condition. I mean, when I was growing up, when I was a small girl, I could see so many kids and even adults who the society had labeled as mad or abnormal or weird, because I'm a Kikuyu, I know that we used to say, kana kaure tikoge, mwana ucio ni abnormal, mundu uria ni mugoroki. Those are terminologies given to people and kids with autism in most societies. Why? Because I think there was a time people had not really defined what is this, and like when you get a child who is not behaving normally, who is just having weird behaviors, people would just find it easy to say abnormal, mad, crazy, and all that. But as civilization and also people have become educated, medicine people are able to diagnose and classify conditions. I want to say that autism is that what you would call abnormal or weird in a child, and it's not an easy thing to talk about. So I just thank God because He has given me the grace, the sufficient grace to face this situation, and He has seen me through with my daughter so that I can become an encouragement to other people who are going through these or even worse scenarios. So just to start my story, I said earlier that my daughter is going to be 5 years in a couple of months. And I want to start the story. She's Loveline. Loveline, when I was pregnant and I was about 7 months, I went for my first pregnancy scan. Not because I had any issue, by the way. I just went out of curiosity to just know how is my pregnancy. Am I carrying a baby boy or a baby girl? And so I walked to a hospital and they did the scan. And so when they gave me the results, I remember them saying, they gave you the images that you just can't interpret. So a specialist has to interpret for you, tell you, now this is the heart, this is what the baby is weighing this much, this is the due date. So after that lady explained all that, then she said, but there is an issue. So I was like, okay, what issue? So there was something written in those medical terminologies. We have found out that the baby you're carrying is a girl, and there is something called a nuchal cord. So I was like, what? What's that? So she explained and said, a nuchal cord means her umbilical cord is wound around her neck. So I felt shocked, and I asked her, like, what does that interpret to? Like, what's the implication? So because she could say, I think she sensed that I'm shocked, and it being a first-time mother, like I knew nothing. So she said, well, this means that the umbilical cord being around her neck, it's not a very serious scenario for now. The only risk is that you may not be able to deliver that baby normally, because during delivery, that cord may strangle her to death. So I asked her, so what's the solution? She said, because you're now 7 months, this may have happened because the baby may be playing a lot, or she may have turned in a way that thing ended up in her neck. But there is a chance she may turn again, and she may play again and unwind herself from that thing. So, well, and then she suggested, so to make sure that this has happened or this has not happened, please make sure you go for another scan before your due date, so that they determine whether the baby is in the right position and whether the cord is around the neck, because in that case, you will have to do a C-section rather. So I went home so broken and so down, and I kept wondering, like, okay, well, I was naive. In fact, I was wondering, so does this mean the baby is not breathing, or and I went to Google. So when I went to Google and I searched about the nuchal cord, I was like curious to know, what exactly does this mean, how does it happen, and all that. So one of the consolations I got from Google is that it was saying, when the baby is in the womb, she or he doesn't breathe through the nose. So the cord is not preventing affecting breathing. The only, like, the role that it plays is the transportation of nutrients to the body, and also the oxygen, So for that one, I felt I became at ease, and I was like, okay, so my baby will not die in the womb. And so, because I have always been a prayerful person, I told God, no, I started refusing the idea of a C-section, and I told God, no. I know God, there's a word in Jeremiah that says that you knew me before I was formed in my mother's womb. And so I started feeling that word saying to me, like, I'm not the one who formed that baby. It is God himself is the one at work. I don't know when the baby gets hair, when the baby gets a nose, or what. It is God who just does that, like, in his own way. We only know that a baby is born with eyes, with hair, with legs. And how those things happen, it is only God. So I told God, no. I don't know how the baby ended up in that position, and I cannot be able to turn her around or do anything. But I can be able to pray and believe in your word and just tell you, God, that the same way you have formed this baby and you are working every day, her heart is okay and everything else is fine. Please make this okay. Like, let her turn in whatever miraculous way that you're gonna work out. Please, God, let this situation not remain so. And I prayed, and I would pray every night, and I would touch my womb and just speak to the baby and to God, and just tell God, I know that you're in control, and my baby will be delivered normally, and there will be no complications. So as the doctor had instructed, before the due date, I went to, I think it was 2 weeks or 1 week prior to the due date written there. I went to another, in fact, a different facility now, and they did the scan to ascertain whether the baby, first of all, whether the baby has turned to the right position for delivery, and also whether the nuchal cord is still there. So when they checked, they told me, no, the baby is in the perfect position, and there is no longer a nuchal cord around her. So I asked them, that means now the baby can be delivered normally. They said, fine, yes. And I just felt this can only be God, because surely there's nothing I did, there's no medication I took, or there's nothing the doctor did. It is just God's work, and his hand was just at work. In short, the baby was delivered normally. So and for a first-time mother, I can't say I had any complications, because I didn't even labor for long. I think I didn't even finish 2 hours. But when the baby was born, now, because I'm a mother twice, now I can compare when my second born was born and when my firstborn was born. When the girl was born, I just remember she made a very faint cry. Like she didn't do those dramatic cries that newborns do, and you are trying to comfort them to calm. No, she just made a very weak, like a cry, and then she slept. And so when they brought the baby to me, the baby was actually asleep. She was 2.5 kilograms, but nothing else was wrong other than like she didn't cry, which now I look back and realize, yeah, by the way, this baby didn't cry much. So I went home. My baby was very calm all through, like even when she woke up, and she was never like the crying type, and she was also never like the excited type. The way like you chuckle a baby and you try to do funny stuff and the baby makes a smile or what. My baby was just like, I can say, emotionless. So now when the baby hit around 4 months, the nurses noted that like there was something wrong about the weight, because the baby like stayed stagnant. I mean, the baby that was born at 2.5 kgs, by 4 months she was 4.5, and the 5th month, the 6th month, it was not adding up. It was not like increasing. And so the nurses called me and took me to the nutrition room, and they were like, what's wrong? Are you breastfeeding this baby well? So me, I said yes. Fine. I was stressed up. I had issues. I had emotional baggage. Like, postpartum depression is so common, but people don't know that. And I was starting to get stressed. I had other issues anyway, but so clearly my milk supply was not enough. And so they added me some supplements. There are some supplements they give you, like uji and stuff, to drink so that the milk production can be boosted. But even after taking these boosters, even when I came now, like for the 5th and the 6th month, the baby's weight stayed at 4.5. And so by that time now, the baby was ready to be weaned, like to be given food. And I was told, like, introduce this and this proteins, blah blah blah. But I did all that. I could buy everything they said, like buy omena soup, blah blah. But the baby could just not feed well. The kid didn't love food. In short, I would try to mash this and that, fruits, blah blah, but she just didn't like eating. And it was stressing me up. I thank God I had a very supportive friend who was also coupling as my house help, and she was prayerful. She would pray for me and for the baby, because now I was starting to just lose it. I was feeling like I'm just down. This is not working out. Motherhood is so hard. I was feeling like a failure. The way even women who are neighbors keep telling me, "Ai, na huyu mtoto kwani hard weight anakaa mdogo," and all that. And I was starting to feel like I'm failing in motherhood. I was just not sure what's wrong with my kid. And every time I would try to give her anything, she would refuse. In fact, most of the times we had like to hold that baby's mouth and nose to just make her swallow food. And so every time I would go for the nutritional review, every month they go and check, has the baby added weight. So inafikanga mahali they are like, okay, this umse ameka hapa, because I think they are given, in those government hospitals, they are given some months where you have to stay for a particular time. And then they review and see whether it's working out. So nimeka hapo like over months, and then the baby is still not adding weight, ama pia anapunguza. And so one of the nurses asked me one time, like, "Mama, kuna food enough home?" I told her yes. "Are you really giving this kid food as we are saying?" And I would say yes. and then I would tell the baby huwa anakataa chakula. Then sometimes people don't understand what you're saying, like niwe humpei because clearly umekaa hapa sana and it's not working out. So I remember one of the nurses now I found akaniuliza, na sasa unafanya job gani? So I told her I'm a musician. And then she said they were two in that desk. So I remember her telling the other one, no wonder, unajua musicians wananga time ya familia. No wonder huyu mama mtoto wake haimprove. Clearly she has no time for the baby. So and I felt offended. Nikamuuliza, what? You can't say that. I mean, I have no time for the baby yet. Mi ndio nimemleta. I've been coming here every month. Anyway, that lady just dismissed my case and said like, it's because I'm a musician. That's why my baby is like that, because I have no time for family. And true to her word, she actually wrote that in the book. I still have the clinic book to date, and she wrote, mother is musician and has no time for family. Child neglected. And so she also said, because mama umekaa hapa sana kwa hii program, umeexceed ile time unafaa kukua kwa hii program, now we cannot continue with you in this program, because clearly we are doing our part as the hospital, but you are not doing your part as the. And anyway, she towed my kid from the program ya nutrition. So akaniambia, sasa hata nikikuja clinic nisikuje tena the nutritional office because nishatolewa. Well, so that was the first person who ever showed me like literally I'm a give up on my kid and on my case. And I went home and I just told God, no, the doctor may have said they are over with us, but no, God, I know you are not done. I may be down emotionally. I may not be doing well. Okay, all this time, by that time, the baby was over 1 year plus, like 1 year na kitu kama hata 8 months. And this kid could not walk, could not even stand on her own. She was very weak, like malnutrition in short. Akipimwa na hizo levels where they pima, then they classify you the malnutrition yako ama hiyo undernutrition imefika level gani. Ours was just acute, like very bad. Ile inakaa red. The meter goes from I think green, yellow. My case was red. This kid was a year plus and she was about 6 kgs point something. So you can, when I say it's bad, it was just that bad. So hata size wise, mtoto tu ni mdogo, ukimbeba anakaa mtoto wa 6 months. Like in the estate where I lived, the kids would be born and then they start walking and talking. My kid still cannot sit down, cannot. And then there were mamas also, they don't spare you. I remember I had so much to deal with because even the neighboring kids, that's how bullying starts, because kids keep like making fun of Loveline, like Loveline bado hajui kutembea, kwa nini hajui kuongea? So the worst was now when it comes from the women, because a woman will have a kid who is younger than Loveline, and the kid is walking, even talking, and then they would come to my doorstep, like they ask me, "By the way, Mama Loveline alianza kutembea?" Then you're like, no. Na huyu si amezaliwa tu juzi, imagine anaongea, imagine ananiita mom. And so it started now weighing down on me, and like I just felt, okay, I'm not a good parent, I'm not a good mom. I don't know, there's something too totally bad. And nikaanza tu kufeel mpaka kukua na self-esteem issues. I would even feel ashamed of like taking my kid anywhere. You see, kuna wakati their birthdays, their kids in the estate, and then all the kids have to go. I would just not let Loveline go anyway, because this child is over 1 year. She can't sit, she can't eat, like she can't feed herself, she can't even hold a biscuit or a sweet. I just went into a cocoon of my own. But I would pray whenever I could. Okay, I was down most of the time, but my friend was really boosting me with prayers, because she would pray for us and like Anani encouraged, Esther, let's just pray, God can change. We didn't know what's wrong with Loveline at all. I actually used to think like I'm the one who is failing as the mother, like I'm doing things wrongly, and hakuna mtu alikuwa anani encourage kuniambia like ama huyu mtoto ako na issue, ama huyu mtoto tumpeleke. Everybody would just show me like, ama ni wewe upelekangi mtoto kwa watoto, imagine angekuwa ameongea. But I would feel no, I'm clearly trying. Mpaka food, kwani food like ni kupelekwa kwa watoto, si anafaa apende food. And ikafika to a point I started now entering into serious intercession for, okay, I said to myself, fine, the nurses at this hospital have given up on my kid. the neighbors are also showing me like, mtoto wako ni hopeless case. The kids are just laughing at us. And I said, no, but God, you are there, and you're the one who is the author and the beginner of all this. You must have a reason. You must have a way out. Sasa nikaanza kukua, like I said, I have to get strong for my kid. I have to start interceding. Nikaanza kuomba, nikaambia Mungu, mimi nakataana. I don't know what this is. I don't know what issue is my kid has, but I know God, you're the great physician. I know God, you can cure whatever. You can just... So by that time, mtoi akafika kitu 2 years hapa, akaanza tena issue ingine ya hakuwa anapenda noise. She didn't like I play the guitar. Ilifika mahali anytime I would pick the guitar to play, the baby would start like blocking her, literally like this with her fingers, and she would scream like she does not want that. Sometimes it's just a door being banged, she would just cry and would block her ears. Tena nikashindwa, now what's this? Another time nikaanza kuosha vyombo, the way you just wash plates and spoons. Hataki hiyo makelele ya vyombo, ilikuwa tu kabisa ina put off, and she would scream and cry. Nikarealize hapana, what's wrong? So in my heart nikafeel like ama tu the devil has waged an attack against my child just to disorient me and like to just bully me and all that. So I went deeper into prayers, and now I started telling God, hapana, mimi nakatana, and I don't know what this is, but Lord, I know you are able to deliver us, to just give us a way out, to just, just do whatever you can and change my daughter. All this time, the other issue I did not know my daughter had was issue ya macho. My daughter, kumbe, her eyes were also not okay. Me as a first-time mom, I just thought like this is how she's made, there's nothing wrong. So one day nikapost picha yake kwa WhatsApp status, the way you just do a selfie with your kid and then you put, I think it was her second birthday. So now the other issue that like your issue ya macho, I didn't know about it. So one day I just posted a photo of my child, and then a lady from Naivasha, I knew her from long ago, akanichat, akaniambia, hi Esther, can I call you? Nikamwambia yes. So she was like, she started being like gentle, akaniambia, hey Esther, kuna kitu nataka kuuliza but usifeel offended. So I was like, okay, what? Have you ever taken your daughter for checkup ya macho? Nikamwambia, checkup ya macho? No, why? Ujaijua mtoto ako na condition? Nikamwambia no. I was in so much denial. Nikamwambia hapana, mtoto wangu ako sawa, that's how she is. Kaniambia hapana Esther, I'm talking to you as a mother who has a child with special needs. By the way, I have a son who is, I think her son back then was 6 or 5. Na Esther, nimekupigia because I know it's so hard for people to tell a mother like your child has issues, but I have been there and I know, I have seen several posts zenye umefanya about your kid, and I look at that kid and I can just tell akona issue. And I am promising you, Esther, that I am willing to walk with you this journey. It's not an easy one, but your daughter akona issue ya macho. And I have a friend who used to have a kid akona that condition, inaitwa squint eyes, na alipelekwa akatengenezwa macho. So nikasema, oh my God, now this again. Yani tu nikafeel my heart imekuwa sasa double, like kwani like there's nothing right about my child, So okay, that lady by then anaitwa Esther, just like me, akaniambia, Esther, I know it's hard for a mother to hear this, but I'm promising you that there's a solution. And also, are you willing to also discuss the issue of your daughter's condition? The other condition comes up. Which other condition? Akaniambia, Esther, umewahi sikia kitu inaitwa autism? So I'm like, what is autism? Akaniambia, okay Esther, autism, mimi nimekuwa nikifollow your WhatsApp photos, and I can tell you there's some things I see in your daughter that were in my son, and I can tell you hata kama ujaenda for checkup, your child akona autism. Oh my God. So I went to Google like, what is autism? You see the way you Google something and then you're like, no, my child cannot be having autism. What's autism? Like how mimi? And I locked myself in the house, nikasema, yani Mungu, kwani ulinipea mtoto tu hakuna, there is nothing right? And I remember I cried so much, and I was just feeling apana, like kwani what have I done? You see the way you ask yourself, I mean, of all people, yani God, you picked Esther. After all the praying and the nimekuserve na nini, it was not easy at all. It was not easy. And I had now to pray for my heart, to just tell God, okay, give me the heart to accept, give me the grace to rise to this, to do whatever is needed of me, because I cannot throw this kid away. I cannot go through my child to the dustbin and say, now I'll get another one who is good. And I prayed. It was a prayer of like telling God, okay, it hurts, it breaks me down, and this one I can't do without you. So niliomba like for a week before I could accept, because when you're told that your child ako na issue, kuna kitu inaitwa denial. Denial is feeling, no, my child ako sawa, my child cannot have this. I know there are kids, there are women who may give birth to a blind kid, a lame child, whatever. And it's not something like you anticipate, like at my child akuwe na issue, hapana. So I prayed for over a week, like God just show me what to do and how to handle this. Because when you read about autism, they actually say there is no cure. There is no cure for autism. So you're like, okay, hakuna cure. So what next? Tutakaa hivi until we are talking of a child who is 2 years back then, could not walk, could not talk, could not feed herself, could not respond to much. I mean, mtoto hatakuwa anapenda mchezo. Like you kids wako nje wanajaribu kumchezesha, to just brush them away. She wanted to be alone. Loveline would just go to a corner, sit there peke yake. A kid tries to come and initiate play, she refuses. We are talking of a child hataki makelele mpaka ya kuosha vyombo. She blocks her hair. Mkiingia matatu ama gari, mtu tu abang mlango, the child screams. In short, everywhere you go, people are turning their eyes because of so many things. Like mtoto ako underweight, anakaa tu ni kama these kids that we see on TV, wale like in Turkana when there is drought and kids are just malnutrition. That's how my child looked like. My child ameambiwa ako na issue ya macho, so you could look at her. Now when that lady talked about the eye issue, I looked at Loveline and I was like, okay, fine, I think it's true. How comes I've been blind to all this? Again, I felt like a failure. I felt like, yani kwani nimekuwa mama anakaa aje? So yani nikaanza kujichukia, like I'm feeling yani too I've done things horribly about all this. Then remember, I'm a public figure. I'm still Esther, the gospel musician. There are times I would have to go to nimeitwa a faraway church. I have to carry this child to the church, and at a point when I'm going to perform, some mother will have to hold her or someone. And people would like turn, you see, people turn at you. They're not telling you anything, but you can just see they're giving you funny look like, okay, what's wrong with this child? So ilikuwa tu a journey of like, God, I need you like more than before. And so nikasema, fine, it is what it is. Now God, give me the grace first to accept. And also now give me the faith, ile faith sasa inaitwa faith of moving mountains, ya kujua like, God, this is it. Yes, this is autism. Haina cure, haina madawa, haina nini, but this is you, God, who is the God of the impossible. And I started feeling like God now calling me to a journey of faith with him. Like, Esther, can we do this together? Can we walk? Because I'm the one who has allowed this. I mean, I remember I would like bargain with God. I'm asking God, I remember like I was bargaining in my heart with God, like, yani God, uliangalia kila mtu tu kaona mimi. Kwani what have I done? What makosa have I done? And then I would feel like God telling me, it's not a mistake. You see the way you are like, Panama, this was meant for someone else, and then it came to Esther by me. Like I would hear the Spirit of God telling me, Apana, this is me allowing it on you. Like, so I told God, sawa, because I will not kill myself and I will not kill the child. And I will not even quit on you, God. You see, I had the option also saying, I will no longer believe in this God. I will no longer serve you. But I did not. I just told God, Lord, now this is me and you walking this journey together. This is my child. and you had the power to give me a child who is okay, but you gave me this one. And from that time, we started walking that journey with God. So I remember now the first thing I tackled was now the eye issue. And I went to Kikuyu Hospital. I took that child and I told them, me, nimeambiwa na watu, mtoto ako na shida ya macho. And clearly it's true, because you can see the way she's akikuangalia, you could tell hakai like the normal kids. So when I went, it's true. They said, yeah, mtoto ako na inaitwa squint eyes. Squint eyes ni macho. In English, it is macho yenye haijakuwa aligned. Like eyes are supposed to be aligned. Zina turn pamoja, kama ni side zina turn hivi. But Laveline's eyes could not turn together. Like you could tell one eye inaangalia hivi and the other one inaangalia hivi. So tukawekwa now into hiyo clinic ya macho. So tukaanza kwenda the clinic ya macho, nikaambiwa fine, we'll have to, kuna dawa kwanza wanakupea. Okay, squint condition pia iko na levels, kuna ile extreme, ingine ni mild. So depending on the level you are at, you may have to do specs, you may have to surgery, or dawa, anything can work depending on where you are. So first of all, tulienda kama 4 months za kwenda anapewa dawa blah blah blah. So the 4th month ndio wakasema now, because of her condition is quite severe, especially on one of, was it the left or the right eye, was a bit severe, tutampea specs. Mtoto wangu akapewa specs. Me, I've never seen anyone wear specs in our family, even myself. Like I was like, atawezana na specs. By then she was about 3 years. Mtoto bado haongei. Alikuwa ameanza kusimama kiasi, like anajishikilia, but she cannot hold herself standing, like unabidi ni mbebe. So mtoto wangu akapewa specs. My first worry was, atawezana na specs ama atakuwa anazitoa anazivunja. When the baby was given specs, alizipenda. Hata mimi I was shocked, because I thought mtoto atachukua specs azivunje, but she didn't. Alichukua specs akavaa and she looked good. Walimpea specs zinakaa poa. So they said we have to look at how this ata progress na the specs, because itakuwa several months of assessment tuone kama the specs is working. Anyway, so the eye issue kwanza chandiweke hapo pause. Now about the other issue, now she had 0 motor skills. Like motor skills ni kusema mtoto anaweza jisimamisha, anaweza keti, anaweza chukua kijiko, anaweza chukua kikombe. Her motor skills were totally 0. So siku moja my mom akaniambia, let's take this kid to this center where I know they do physiotherapy, the one for massaging body parts and joints. So we thought now the muscle, your motor skills would that's what they would just work on. So when we went there, we found a guy and a lady. So tukaingia na huyo mtoto. So we told her, tumeleta huyo mtoto because huwa hajifanyii stuff, like she can't stand up, she can't hold things, and we thought you guys can help mfanyie hizo therapies. Then so I remember they just looked at each other, hata hawaku take 2 minutes, waliangalia tu Loveline, and then they told each other, but this child looks autistic. The same word ile my friend had said, like, your child ako na autism. So I looked at them nikauliza, okay, ati autistic, mmejua aje na like you just seen her for the first time? So they realized like sija receive that whatever statement vizuri. So that guy akanikalisha chini akanambia, madam, umewaisikia kitu inaitwa autism? Nikamwambia mimi nimesikia autism like just ikipita tu, I've never been like, what is autism, what causes autism? Akaniambia autism is actually not a disease ati atakuwa cured. So they try to be gentle, like letting you know hii kitu, they know it's a serious thing. Like if your child is autistic, that's not a small thing, but you see the doctor will not like just crush it on you. So akaniambia autism is a condition, it's a condition, it's an what do you call this word, neuro means brain, some condition about the brain that inatumanga mtoto anazaliwa akiwa different from others. So he really used very gentle statements hapo, akasema autistic kids, they don't see the world like us, they don't even feel things the way, like emotions zao ziko different, the way they see the world is different, even how they feel, how they respond to things. So akaanza hapo kuniuliza maswali, kaniambia okay fine, this is not a final diagnosis because me I'm not a neurologist, me I'm just a physiotherapist, but I've seen kids and I can pick some zinaitwa tendencies, you can see characteristic kama vitu mtoto anafanya, then you are able to say akona autistic tendencies. So clearly by like that time hata Lovelyn hata hakukaa hapo, alianza tu kuzurura hapo, like alikuwa hiyo time angechukua tu kitu yote iko kwa meza anaangusha. You try even to call her, ana story, she's just indifferent. So akaniambia well, please get another opinion, a professional opinion, so that you're able to help your child, but we can advise you that ukimpea early interventions it'll work better for her, because if they are given early help huwa inasaidia. So again I went back to the house, like I'm like yani kitu kume iko serious, you know, you keep hoping like let it be wrong, let it just be any mistake. And so nika Google story ya autism again, like how characteristics of autistic children, nikaona some of the things wanasema ukweli Lovelyn ako nazo. Okay, the other thing I've not mentioned, hakuwa anaongea, but she used to really grind her teeth. Mnakaa ana grind mpaka unasikia dhidhi, then sometime uko tu na watu unasikia mtu anakwambia simwambie aache, tell her to stop that, you know, and I can't because this child is not responding to anything that you say, anafanya tu her own things. So nikasema fine, it is what it is, and I think venye tu nimeambiwa I have to get her early intervention if I want my child to be okay. And so ndio I looked for a special school where now they have kids with so many conditions, cerebral palsy, epilepsy, so many other issues. And when I took her there, now they assessed her professionally. They observe her even for 30 minutes. They will look at how she's relating with people, how she's responding to her name and all that. The ukweli wakaniambia, Lovelyn is autistic, but you are lucky because her autism is mild. Like imagine my case is mild with all the things I'm saying, like mtoto hataki food, mtoto hataki kucheza, mtoto hataki makelele. The other thing, hiyo time alikuwa ameanza sasa walk. She could walk a bit, but she was very weak because of that being malnutrition, hakuwa na nguvu ya mwili. So even if she's walking, ana walk very few steps and then that is it, anakaa chini. Na hakuwa anakaa chini like a normal kid. She would just kneel down on her knees, like get down on her knees, and get to that position, she cannot stand herself up. You have to go and muinushe. Now she had selective places to walk on. She could not walk on a place that has no cement. For instance, ukimpeleka Ocha, a place where hakuna cement, hakuna kabro. Yeah, so Lovelyn could not, angekubali kutembea mahali hakuna cement ama nini. Kwanza alikuwa anachukia grass. She could not walk on grass. My child could just see grass and kneel down, and then you have to carry her. By then I had my second born. My second born was about 4 months. Then niko na watoto wawili, but of different ages, but they are the same because they are totally dependent on me. I had to feed Lovelyn. I had to breastfeed the baby. I had to give Lovelyn food. Like she cannot hold a cup. She's using diapers. She doesn't know toileting and all that. So mimi when now they said this child akona autism, lakini it's mild. Like meaning kuna wale wako autistic but like wako on the extreme. I know you have seen those cases, kids who are just hyper, like he cannot settle down, he's violent, he bullies others, he bites. Autism is just a whole condition that just shakes your world up. And so when I was told my child is mild, it meant with some interventions here and there, she can improve. Not necessarily become autism free, but she can get better. So by that time now, the eyes, we were still going for the clinic, and at a point now they said hii macho yake imekataa kukuwa rekebishwa by specs. So we are recommending surgery. Both her eyes had the condition, but one was very extreme. So wakasema tunataka tuanzie na surgery ya one of the right sikumbuki ni the right ama ni left, yeah, one of hiyo yenye iko extreme ifanywe surgery. So again I was like what, mtoto wa 3 years surgery aje? Like surgery ya macho inafanywa aje? You see, you're just green, you're just a mother, you're not in the medicine field, so everything just comes to you as a shock. So mimi nikauliza daktari, okay, surgery ya macho kwanza ina take how long? Because me I was imagining watatoanisha kichwa urgent, your macho itoke, you know. So I was not open to the surgery idea first. I felt no, my child will go through too much, she's just 3 years. But tena nikaenda nikagoogle, nikajiuliza okay, squint surgery, how is it done, blah blah blah, is it risky, you know. So after bargaining and discussing with a few friends, I think I have the courage for it, and fine, I accepted, and alifanywa surgery. She had a surgery for one of the eye. In fact, an eye surgery is not like a very major thing, because it's just a 1 hour process. Then she'll come with a bandage, and well, it was scary because this is a child. I'm her mother. She does not talk, aongei, so hakuna venye atasema kama amedungwa sindano ati nao sisikii ama nasikia. She will not say whether she's feeling pain or she's not. You know, it was another now new experience of nursing someone who cannot say how she's feeling. You just rely on how she's responding, how she's behaving, and you have to, hiyo macho ikifanywa surgery, kuna dawa za 2 weeks, like after every 2 hours unamweka dawa, then she has to sleep on one side for, is it a week or what, so that hiyo macho isifure. Now I had to sleep again with the baby and this one, because lazima make sure haja turn to the wrong side, and God brought her through. So all this I'm saying because it is God who brought me through it. It is not me. In fact, mimi kama ninge rely on my own strength, ilikuwa ishaisha. It is just God who kept renewing my strength and just reminding me, Esther, I told you we are together in this, and I'll never leave or forsake you. You know, I have good plans for you guys. And I became very prayerful now. Hii story ilituma sasa tena niingiane na Mungu another level that maybe I would never have gone into. Nikakuwa a serious intercessor, and I said, Lord, I know they have said hakuna cure for surgery for autism. There's nothing I can do to make this child better. But God, I mean, you know, this child is not talking, is not even walking well, is not even giving herself food and all that. But me, God, najua, you're the creator of all things. You can just pick a word and change all this. And I have prayed about this. And I kept telling God, I will not even let this thing wear me out, that I'm not able to serve you. I have gone for ministry despite leaving behind a child who cannot talk, a child who cannot walk, a child who's still using diapers at 4 years, blah, blah, blah. And I told God, kama kuna kitu haitatuma nitoke kwako, ni hii situation. Because I know the devil would be so happy to hear that nime quit because God may allow this. I said, see, even Job was a righteous man. He was tried and tested with even losing his children. I kept hearing so many things. Some said by people who pretended to be my friends. Some said by relatives. You know, people assume they know the reason why your child is like that, and they blame it on you. Others will say you are cursed, blah, blah, blah. And I stood on God's word. I remember this song by Gloria Murillo that says, nakubaliana na neno lako. And I kept telling God, me, I know, God, you have exalted your word above everything. And God, your word can become anything. It can become medicine. It can become deliverance for my child. Na nikasema, I will not give up on my child. I will not give up. I know there may never have been a case before of a person delivered from autism or cured or whatever terminology you can use. However, God, this can be a first time, because God, you're a God of signs and wonders. And when the kid started sleeping alone, wakati alitengenezewa a baby cot, I told that carpenter, ebu andika, there's a verse that says in Isaiah, is it 6:8 or vice versa? As for me and the children you have given me, we are for signs and wonders. And I wrote that I said, andika hivyo on the baby cot, so that every time I'm going to put this baby to sleep, I have seen God who says that he has exalted his word above everything. Like God's word can become medicine. God's word can become the chain breaker in your life. This child, 2 or 1 year ago, could not feed herself, could not do potty, could not walk well, could not talk. So I took this child to the special school when she was totally dependent. I mean, like the stage where she was put at is called respite. Respite means this is a kid who is dependent on an adult for everything. Huyu mtoto atatolewa diaper, atapewa food, atasimamishwa from where she is. If, in that class, everybody was just having their own condition. Loveline was even much better because there are kids there who are in wheelchairs with helmets because they have epilepsy, and they keep getting seizures and falling and hitting their heads. And by the way, Loveline used to have those seizures. Okay, well, mild ones, because hers was a case of emotional imbalance. Like if Loveline got shocked, or if you like scold her and she feels afraid or shocked or even angry, she would have seizures. That word, seizures. And this is something else I refused on my knees, and I told God, fine, kuna dawa za neurology huwa wanapewa, but sometimes those dawas they have other side effects. I have had parents talk of hizo medicine venye pia zimeaffect mtoto. Now anapewa hiyo ya kumanage the seizures, but then it brings another side effects. Well, so I have never put Loveline on dawa za neurology at all. Her condition with seizures was just about emotional management. Like you cannot scold her, hauwezi mushtua, and you also don't make her angry. You have to manage her emotional balance like that, so that because akishtuka, akikasirika, huwa anapata those. Okay, she used to, because lately it's not happening. She used to like mwana kanganga dhara kona tari gukwara, she just dries up. People who know seizures, they know what I'm talking about. Mtoto tu amekasirika because I'm leaving her, and then she just has that word. And I told God, no, I am refusing. God, you can heal. You can. I don't know what causes it or how, but Lord, you are the creator of the universe. There is nothing impossible for you. Now, to fast track this story is that this child stayed in that school. In 3 months or 4 months time, in one term, in short, in one term, akachangewa from that class, because now that time alishaanza alianza now she could stand on herself. She started walking. The way I'm saying, she didn't like to walk on grass. She started walking on grass. She started liking to play. This is a child who hated play. You could not play with Loveline was transferred to the next class. And every time God does something, I would go on my knees and tell God, you are the one who has done this. I did not give up on praying. I prayed. I have prayed for this child. I have gone to prayer centers. I have fasted and told God, I am believing in you for miracles. I am believing in you to change this story so that I will not be shying off from telling people what my God is capable of. And I kept feeling I'm thirsty for God's word about this issue. I wanted God to just say something. Give me some comfort about this whole thing, so that my grace can stay at the right level, because it is so easy to give up with this condition. Can break you down. It can totally break you down. Having a child who cannot talk, a child who cannot play with people, a child who cannot walk yet ako mkubwa. So when people see you carrying her on your back, they are like, mbona weki huyo mtoto chini atembee na ni mkubwa? And you cannot go explaining to everyone in the street like, huyu mtoto ni special, blah blah blah. You go to a church and this child starts screaming because anasikia drum set zinapigwa, people are singing, and she starts screaming, and you have to go outside, and people are like, ni nini mtoto wako ako na fujo hivi? They don't understand that this child is different. And this book, that's why I just had to hold this book. It is titled Uniquely Human, a different. So Laveline's progress just started becoming amazing, because when she now went to the next level, by that time she could not feed herself, but she could now walk. And then they introduced the potty to her, and they have a way of timing her, like knowing when she's just about to, and they put her there. So Laveline's story has turned around. And just as I said in the beginning of this video, that we don't tell a story because of how it begins, but because of how it ends. Loveline is going to be 5 years in March this year. And I felt it's a high time I share this story, because this has been a story of miracles in these modern times. If you don't believe there is anything like a miracle, if you don't believe at all that God is able, just take it from Esther Konkara, because I have seen God firsthand working on my daughter on issues that people, doctors, nothing could have worked out. Loveline started loving food. By the way, I remember that I prayed, like I fasted and just told God, hapana, God, give mtoto mpatie appetite. I am tired of kumshikanga mapua every day. And all of a sudden, mtoto akaanza kuanza kubali food. Like there's a time Loveline could just see her plate, anaona tu ukiapproach na chakula, mtoto anaanza kulia. I told God, hapana, nakataana na hili. And God turned that around. The baby started liking eating. Today, Loveline is a very good feeder. I can tell you that without any fear of contradiction, that Loveline is eating, and all of us, everybody who knows Loveline and who used to know Loveline today, is just amazed at what God can do. Mtoto wako anapenda chakula. Today she sits down, she feeds herself. Loveline is left-handed. We came to know that as the teachers worked on her. She uses her left hand, and she will eat a plate of food, especially ugali. Anapenda ugali. She will eat ugali, amalize, and Loveline will not be forced to eat. She has a very good appetite, a very good appetite. In fact, I envy her appetite today. And I can tell you that the weight that she had, she had stagnated for quite some time. Loveline's weight is picking up. She's not yet where she's supposed to be at 5 years, but she's not where she used to be. Loveline, siku hizi mimi hata nashinda kumuinua, because she has become very playful, and she keeps telling you, nirushe juu. The Loveline who could not talk, a Loveline who could not talk, say a word a year ago or so. Today, Loveline is communicating. She's not yet fluent in language. However, Loveline can communicate. Loveline will tell you, nipe maji, chakula, nipaguze. That child is talking. And I have a few videos just to share with you of Loveline doing things she could not do before, as I have told this story. And today, Loveline is now playing with kids. Loveline, I can take her out and she will go and enjoy, because now she's able to do activities that she could not do before. Loveline is feeding herself. Loveline is now toileting quite well, not very perfectly, but she is communicating her needs. If you're able to be keen, these children teach you to be very attentive to details, to even communication, to body language. Because if they are not talking, you have to know how to read her cues, how to know when she wants what. We have been there, but today she's saying words, and she will let you know that she wants a cup of water or she wants tea. Loveline goes to the kitchen, picks a cup, and comes and give you and tell you, nipe maji. That is a girl who could not talk before. We have not done any speech therapy, by the way. This speech therapy is very costly. If you ask for speech therapy in hospitals, they will tell you even 6,000 per session. It is God alone who has worked on Loveline. I am so grateful to the teachers, because they have done their part in Loveline's life. And Loveline has responded so well. In that school, when we took Loveline there, she was just down there. But as the year closed, we are now in a new year. So last year, as the term ended, Loveline has been cleared to join a regular school, like a school for normal kids in January, because they said, we have seen the progress of this child and we have assessed her in that 1.5 years she has stayed with us. She has responded to every intervention that we gave, because this is a child who came here without giving herself food. She could not even hold a spoon. By the time they started giving her a spoon, alikuwa anafungwa spoon na masking tape so that mkono ikuwe stimulated to know that inapelekanga chakula kwa mdomo. We have been there. And today Loveline takes a spoon, takes a cup, takes a plate, anakula food inaisha. And she takes even that plate. If you tell her, Loveline, peleka hiyo sahani kwa kitchen, she will do that. We are talking of a girl who could not walk outside. Today she walks, mpaka unaenda kumtafuta ameenda wapi. Loveline is very playful, someone who used to just be emotionless. She laughs. She has her own things that she finds funny, and when she laughs, she just laughs. Loveline has responded to emotions, emotional stimulation. You have to really love these children. You have to keep stimulating emotions and reactions in them. We have talked and talked and talked, like even sang to her. The other day she was trying to sing because she hears her brother singing and us, even me singing, and kumbe all this time huwa anasikia what we are singing, and then she stores it in her brain. And one of the other day niliweka tu a song on YouTube, and I heard her start trying to sing, and she was saying the right words, because it has been a journey of faith, love, a lot of prayers, and just having the right support system. I have had people who really support me. I have read this book. This book is titled Uniquely Human, and it says a different way of seeing autism. This book was given to me by someone, a friend of mine, all the way from America, and it was shipped here to Kenya so that I can read this book. And this book tells the story of so many kids across the world, people with autism at different levels, and how you have to live with them, and how you have to know how to manage them, to handle them, because we cannot be blind to this condition. It is out there. It can get anyone. Autism is a neurological issue. Like, it's the brain that doesn't form properly when the child is in the womb, or it's the brain that gets damaged, maybe during delivery, or in an accident, or there are so many things. Doctors say that they really cannot put a finger to what exactly causes. However, there are some pointers. That's why I had to share my story about how my pregnancy and the scan showed that there was an umbilical cord around my daughter's neck. I never know that could have caused or led to this condition to an extent. And I'm not saying this as a professional. I'm just saying some of the things I suspect may have. This is not something I did. You cannot blame me, because when a child is in the womb, ni yeye tu na Mungu who knows what's going on. So when you see a mother with a child who is able differently, a child with special needs, it could be anything, even a child without a hand, a child who cannot hear, who is deaf. You cannot laugh. You cannot say this mother did this or did not do this, because haya mambo ni ya Mungu. It is only God who makes kids to be who they are. We can only do so much as mothers, as parents. Let's end the stigma, because stigma is one thing that really puts people. I've gone through stigma myself, despite the fact that I am a public figure. I have had stigma from friends, from neighbors, people who talk about my daughter behind my back. But somehow those things still get to you, because the same people who are told and who are there, they will make sure that it gets to you. You hear theories of people who presume to know why your child was born this way, and it hurts. But God is faithful. Today, Loveline is a child you cannot spot from a crowd and say this child has issues. In fact, people always try to initiate conversation with her when we go somewhere, and I have to be the one telling them, no, this one is different. When you're a mother to a special needs child, you become their voice. You go to places and you ask to be served first, because you don't want your child. These kids don't like staying in one place or in a strange place for long. Ataanza kuleta shida, and it will become another drama. So You become bold. As I said, you become a special mother. There are things I know as a mother that you guys who are watching it don't have special needs kids may not know or may never know. You know how to read emotions of a kid. You relate, you're so connected with your child that you can tell. I mean, Loveline has not been talking for so long, but I know Loveline when she wants food. I know when she wants to be changed. I know when she's not happy. It is something that you learn as you learn to love your child unconditionally. You teach the world how to treat your child, because people will always look at how you're treating your child. Then they'll know whether to despise her or to love her. If people notice that you're very protective, you're very bonded with that kid, they cannot say bad things about that kid in your presence. They cannot treat her differently. They cannot discriminate. You have to teach kids around, the neighboring kids, to love and to integrate that child in their play. Because many people, many times when you are growing up, these kids used to have no friends. These kids used to be locked inside the house. These kids used to be left behind when people are going to church. I go with Loveline to church every Sunday and I sit in the front seat. And people are now used to us. If Loveline does something weird, nobody will talk because they know. So I had to come out and speak out. God spoke to me a year or so ago about this and said, God, I allowed this situation into you because I want you to be used as an inspiration to other people with these or even other issues. And I will make sure that I give you deliverance, I give you victory so that you are able to encourage others. And so I felt when I realized that Laveline's situation is turning around, I could not keep quiet about this. I cannot shy off from sharing my story because I know that God is using this story to reach out to so many other people. And I want you to know that this Esther who sings out there, you hear on radio, has had this issue. I have battled this issue and it has weighed me down at times. It has crushed my spirit. And here I am with a new story. I recently released a song called Wego Shibie. This song is about this. The official video haijatoka, but hii song niliandika because of this condition. And I told God, I am just letting your will be done. I am letting you have your way in this issue, that you glorify yourself. I know this is a very bitter cup, as that song says in verse 2, that however, let your will be done, God. Be glorified. Find your way and bring glory to yourself, because your ways are not our ways. How you see things is not how we see things. God sees the end from the beginning. God saw Laveline's deliverance. God knows what Loveline will become. And I just want you to remember that no matter what you could be battling, people may not understand. Doctors may not have a solution. Teachers may not have a solution. Even you as a mother or as a parent, as a caregiver, as the victim, you may not have the answer, but God can glorify. He can do what he has never done before. He's the God of signs and wonders. And hajafika, the way we would say menopause, ya kufanya miujiza. God can still do a thing he has never done in history, just so that he glorify himself. If we let him, if we submit to his will, if we pray without ceasing, if we don't get bitter. I never let this thing make me bitter. I was tempted to be bitter, but I told God, no, ninakuwa bitter alafu nini? Who will rescue me from, who will become my support system if I become bitter with you, God? Yet you allowed this, ukijua ni mimi ni Esther Konkara, mimi naimbanga, mimi nakuserve. But God, I am not any special. Kindu yothe gikoraga andu aria athingu no gikoraga andu aria aganu. That's what the word says. We are not exempted from troubles just because we are born again. But people, the wicked, think that if they see you afflicted, the way Job's friends would say, no agohitiria guy. There are people who say that I am special, no gadekite ona, no gake. And I told God, I will swallow all that, but I will stand on one thing. I will stand on the promises of the Lord, that my children are for signs and wonders. Oh, not so special, she's for signs and wonders. And God, I have seen you proving your word true, that my child, in a school that has over 100 pupils, learners, at the end of the term, my child was the youngest child to be cleared from that school in a very short time. Among only 3 kids have been cleared. to go this year to a regular school, and Lovelyn is one of those 3 kids. Even the teacher said hawajawahi ona mtoto ame catch up that fast. Okay, kids do change, but after many years of staying there. But Lovelyn has only been there for 1 year and a half, yet ameachieve milestones zenye so many kids hata wamekaa huko 5 years hawaja achieve. What can this be? Hajatumia madawa, hajaenda speech therapy. It is God alone acting on his word and proving himself that he has exalted his word above everything else. And when I think of the things God can do, I remember that I'm just a vessel. He can use me in whichever way he wants. Wananyamarura kuma maundu-ini mangĩ. Even now he's doing it. He's giving me a new song. He's putting us as an inspiration out there for people to know that he's the God who can do what doctors cannot do, what people cannot do. I am so happy that there's a nurse who gave up on me and my daughter and said, we have done our part as doctors, but you as a mother, haufanyi your part, so we cannot continue with you. Today, they see Lovelyn and how she's eating. They would not believe it, but it is God who has done it. So, dear brethren, dear friends and fans of mine, this is from my heart, and I had to share it. It may look like a story of shame, but it is not. It is a story of victory. And I'm not doing this in self-pity. I may have shed a tear or two, but it is because I remember where God has brought us from. Sitaki kuhurumiwa. I want God to be glorified. I want you guys to be encouraged that situations no cireme andu. Maundu ni moka makaritoha. Ukaga aja na andu othe makarikania na uhoro ucio makaiga riu uria gugathie. But there is God who redeems anything and anyone and any situation. Just let the Lord have his way in whatever you're going through. Remember to subscribe to this channel. Please share this video because I did this so that it can reach out to the world. As God said, he's going to use me as a vessel to reach out to so many people who are broken, hopeless, and people who are just suffering. Please let it reach them. Please let it be known that God is still doing miracles and wonders, that God is still at work, amazing the world. And if we let him, God is able to do whatever he said he will do, and even more. I am so happy that you have watched to the end. Leave a comment, leave an encouragement, share with a friend, subscribe, and let us keep trusting in this God, because for sure he is more than we can even imagine. God bless you so much. Lovelyn is going to be 5. Lovelyn is going to become great in this land. And one day Lovelyn and I will sing a song and you will remember that I told you so, because the Lord is at work and we are for signs and wonders in the mighty name of Jesus. Songa huko mbele mama. Namwagilia nini? Namwagilia nini? Namwagilia mboga. Goodie. Huko mbele. Huko mbele mama. Unataka nini? Nikupa nini mama? Hata. Wow.